started with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but a silence that dripped like blood from the walls. Heavy, suffocating, wrong. I sat in the cracked leather chair at the back of the group home, flicking through static on the old radio I found in the storage closet. I was just killing time, waiting for dinner, waiting for the next day, waiting for something. Anything. Then the emergency alert hit. A blaring tone, loud enough to make me flinch. The radio buzzed with a mechanical voice, but it wasn't like the usual tests. Emergency alert. Nationwide communications failure. Avoid all signal towers. Avoid central hubs. Repeat, communications are down. You are on your own. The radio cut out. I stared at it, heart racing. I'd heard emergency alerts before. Tornado warnings. Amber alerts. This was different. No explanation. No advice. Just you're on your own. I grabbed my jacket, ignored the other kids arguing over who stole whose hoodie, and stepped outside. The streets were too quiet. The group home was always noisy. Cars passed. Neighbors yelled. Today, not a sound. No planes. No sirens. Nothing. Then I noticed the blood. It wasn't mine. It painted the sidewalk, smeared and panicked, crooked streaks like someone had been dragged. Fresh, still wet. I swallowed hard and followed it. I should have turned back, but I've always been the kind of person who runs toward the fire. Maybe because I had nothing to lose. No parents, no home I cared about, just this burning need to know. The trail led me around the block, past dead cars and flickering streetlights. I heard something scraping, wet, like something soft being pulled apart. I stopped at the corner. There was a man kneeling in the road, his back to me, his hands deep inside the chest of another man sprawled on the asphalt. I couldn't see his face, but I heard the squelching. When he turned his head, his jaw hung loose, broken. His eyes were, God, they were leaking, black, like ink bleeding from his tear ducts. He didn't speak, didn't growl, just stared. I stumbled backward. That's when I noticed the others. Down the street, standing, silent, watching me. Every one of them had blood on their hands. I ran back to the group home, slamming the door shut, locking it. The house was empty. Everyone was gone. No phones worked. No radios. No internet. Just me. And the emergency alert playing over and over, burned into my memory. You are on your own. I don't know how long I sat there, breathing too fast, waiting for the door to crash open. But it didn't. When I finally peeked outside, the street was empty again. They were gone, like they'd never been there at all. The blood on the sidewalk was already drying. I walked back inside the group home, still half expecting to find someone. Anyone. But it was just me. The other kids. The staff. All their stuff was here. Phones on their beds. Plates on the table. Half-folded laundry. But no bodies. No blood. No sign of where they went. Did they run? Did they get taken? Or maybe they're still out there, hiding just like me. I grabbed a backpack, stuffed in what I could: water, some snacks, a flashlight. I don't know why I packed like I was going somewhere. I didn't have anywhere to go. But staying here felt worse. When I stepped outside again, the air felt heavy, like the whole city was holding its breath. There were no sirens, no cars. Just a low wind brushing against the dead streets. I walked for hours, past frozen intersections, past locked stores. I kept thinking I'd find crowds, police, someone, but there was no one. Sometimes I heard footsteps echoing on the concrete, but when I turned, there was no one there. And then, I found them again. 3 of them, faces slack, blood caked around their mouths, heads twitching like broken dolls. They didn't rush me. Didn't speak, just stared. But I noticed something this time. They weren't alone. There were others, but not like them. Across the street, I caught sight of someone. A boy, about my age, ducking behind a parked car, his eyes wide, terrified. He was breathing hard, watching the infected just like I was. He saw me. His mouth moved. Run. Then he bolted. I turned and ran the opposite way, my heart punching through my ribs. The emergency alert still burned in my memory. Communications are down. You are on your own. But maybe I'm not. Maybe there are others like me, running, hiding, surviving, and maybe, just maybe, they know what's really happening, if they're still alive. I didn't stop running until my legs burned, until my throat was raw and my vision blurred from the sweat in my eyes. When I finally collapsed behind an overturned trash bin, the streets were quiet again. Too quiet. No footsteps, no breathing, no sign of the infected, but also no people. I sat there, trying to slow my heart, when I realized something. That boy I saw, he wasn't just running. He knew something. The way he looked at me, the way he told me to run, it wasn't random. He's done this before. I had to find him. But how? The city was too big, and the emergency alert had killed everything I could have used to reach someone. No phone, no internet. Radios just spat out static. Still, I had a lead. I went back toward the direction he'd run, carefully this time, weaving through alleys, peeking around corners. It didn't take long before I realized I wasn't the only one searching. There were more of them, infected, some standing perfectly still like statues in the middle of the road, some kneeling by puddles of blood, scooping it with their bare hands, smearing it on their faces, their broken jaws hanging loose. But they didn't chase me. Not yet. It's like they're waiting, watching, like they're following some rule I don't understand. I kept moving. Eventually, I saw it. A sheet of torn red cloth tied to a chain-link fence. Fresh. The same color the boy had wrapped around his arm. I followed it. More signs. Scratched arrows on the walls. Empty snack wrappers dropped along a trail. I wasn't sure if it was for me or for someone else, but I followed anyway. It was the only thing I had. The trail led me underground to an old service tunnel beneath the city. The air smelled like rust and wet stone. My flashlight flickered as I moved deeper. That's when I heard voices. Actual voices. I pressed my back to the wall and listened. They're learning faster now. They know where we hide. They don't act like zombies, another voice whispered. They're waiting, like they know we're still out here. And what about the missing people? Where did they all go? They didn't all get infected. A long pause. Then I heard something that froze me in place. I think they're taking people somewhere. Where? No one's come back to tell us. I stepped forward too fast, my foot scraping against the gravel. The voices snapped to silence. Then someone shouted, "Who's there?" Panicked. I ran. Footsteps thundered behind me. Shouts. Flashlights cutting through the dark. Were they survivors? Were they dangerous? I didn't know. But I knew one thing. I wasn't alone anymore. And maybe that's even scarier. I didn't stop this time. Whoever they were, those voices in the tunnels, they chased me through the dark like they'd done this before. Their boots slammed the concrete. Their flashlights stabbed through the blackness like they knew these tunnels inside and out. I barely stayed ahead of them. I turned a corner, dove behind a rusted pipe, covered my mouth to muffle my breathing. Their footsteps slowed, then stopped. I heard one of them speak in a low, steady voice. "We saw you. You can't stay alone forever." Another voice, softer but colder. "They find loners first." A third whispered, "They can smell fear." Their flashlights panned across the walls, inches from me. Then, just as quickly as they appeared, the footsteps faded. Gone. They weren't infected, but they didn't feel safe either. I waited until I was sure they were gone before slipping deeper into the tunnels. The walls were covered in scratches, marks, smears of black-red handprints, words etched into the stone, some old, some recent. "We're next." They're not dead. They're not human anymore. They're rounding us up. Don't trust the emergency alerts. That one stopped me. The alerts? Wasn't that all I had left? Weren't they supposed to help? But then I thought back. The alert never told me where to go. Never said how to stay safe. Just, communications are down. You are on your own. Like it wanted me isolated. I kept moving until I found a crack of light. Daylight. I climbed out of the tunnels and onto a street I barely recognized. It was quiet, abandoned, but on a distant rooftop I saw him. The boy from before. Red cloth tied around his arm, watching me. When our eyes met, he didn't run this time. He turned, made a quick motion, follow me, and disappeared behind the edge of the building. I sprinted after him, weaving through silent cars and toppled trash bins. I caught up to him on the fire escape. He didn't say a word, just climbed, fast and smooth, like he'd done it 100 times. When we reached the rooftop, he finally turned to face me. "You're lucky," he said, breathless. "You didn't answer them." "Who?" I asked. His eyes scanned the empty streets like he expected them to hear. "The infected. Sometimes they speak now. Sometimes they remember their names." He stepped closer. "And if they call your name and you answer, you're next." I felt the blood drain from my face. I thought back. I never heard them call me, never heard them speak at all. "Where did everyone go?" I whispered. His eyes narrowed. "That's what we're going to find out." We moved fast. The boy didn't waste time explaining much. He just waved me along, down stairwells, across alleys, past shattered windows where the blood had dried but the bodies were gone. "My name's Mason," he finally said as we ducked into an abandoned bookstore. "I've been on my own since the first alert. Same as me. An orphan. A ghost in a city that didn't want us." "Do you know what's happening?" I asked, my voice low, like the buildings themselves might be listening. Mason shrugged, but his jaw tightened. "They say it's an infection, some kind of fast-spreading thing. But people don't always die from it. Some just change." He pointed to his head. "They remember their names. They remember us." I swallowed hard. "And where did everyone else go?" "That's the part no one understands," Mason said, leading me through the back of the store to a locked hatch in the floor. He yanked it open. "People didn't all die. They just disappeared, like whole streets at a time. Gone. No blood. No struggle." We crawled down into a cold, concrete shelter with flickering lights. Inside were maybe 5 other people. Kids like me, a few teens, all looking rough, all carrying backpacks like they'd been running for days. Mason closed the hatch behind us. A girl with a shaved head crossed her arms and glared at me. "Why'd you bring him? He could be marked." "He's clean," Mason said. "I've been watching him." Her eyes drilled into me like she didn't believe that. "What's marked?" I asked. A boy near the wall answered without looking up. "Sometimes they touch you, just once. That's all it takes. Not infected yet, but you're connected. They can see what you see. They can hear what you hear. And they'll find you," the girl added. "But I'm not marked," I said quickly. "You sure?" Mason asked, his voice calm but sharp. "Did they ever say your name?" I shook my head. "No, I never heard them speak." "Good." Mason pulled out a crumpled map and slammed it on the table. "We're tracking where the disappearances happen. There's a pattern. Whole neighborhoods go silent. No gunshots, no screams, just gone." The map was covered in circles. The next one was close. "That's where we're going," he said. "Why?" "Because I think the people who disappeared, they might still be alive." My chest tightened. "They're hiding." "No." Mason looked me dead in the eyes. "I think they've been taken somewhere." Before I could ask more, a faint sound rattled through the vents. A voice, distant, soft. "Mason, Mason, you can stop running now." The girl's face drained of color. "That's your name." Mason's fists clenched. "They never knew my name before today." The voice whispered again. "I see you." We all went silent, listening. "I see all of you." No one spoke. No one moved. The voice still echoed faintly through the vents, dragging Mason's name like it already owned him. "Mason, you can stop running now. Come outside." The girl with the shaved head, her name was Riley, grabbed a rusted crowbar and pressed her ear to the vent. Her face went pale. "They're close, closer than before." Her voice cracked. "They shouldn't know we're here." Mason cursed under his breath and slammed his fist against the table. "They've never said my name before. Never." The group started arguing, their voices rising. What went wrong? Who slipped up? Were we followed? But something inside me twisted sharp and cold. I retraced everything in my head. We were careful. We didn't touch them. We didn't let them speak to us. No one answered, but they still found us. A horrible thought crept in. What if someone in here is already infected? Or worse, what if one of us was never human to begin with? I scanned their faces. Riley, the quiet boy in the corner, Liam, Mason, the other two. I didn't even know their names. All of them breathing hard. All of them sweating. All of them acting like survivors. But now I wasn't sure. Is it possible? I whispered. That one of us is marked and doesn't know? The room went dead silent. Riley's eyes darted to Mason. Mason's fists clenched. And Liam? He wouldn't even look up. He just stared at the floor like he'd already figured something out and was afraid to say it. The voice in the vents shifted. It wasn't just Mason's name anymore. It was mine. I see you. I see you. Come outside. We've been waiting for you. My stomach dropped. I never told anyone my name. Not even Mason. Not anyone in this group. I backed toward the door. How do they know me? Riley raised the crowbar like she wasn't sure if I was still on her side. Did you answer them? Ever? No, my throat went dry. I never did. I swear. I never told anyone my name. Liam finally spoke, his voice hollow. Maybe you didn't have to. Maybe they already knew you. His eyes flicked toward Mason, then to the hatch above. Or maybe someone told them. We all looked at Mason. His expression didn't crack, but there was something in his eyes, like he was waiting for this moment. You think it's me? He said, calm, like it didn't even bother him. You think I'd lead them here? I don't know what to think anymore, Riley whispered. The voice kept calling. Come outside. But now I wasn't sure who it was talking to anymore. Me, Mason, or someone else entirely. The voice in the vents grew sharper, more confident. Like it knew we were listening, like it could feel the panic rising inside us. Come outside. It's safe now, you'll be okay. It didn't sound robotic anymore. It sounded like someone I knew. Someone from the group home. I stepped back, my pulse hammering in my throat. No one's supposed to know my name, I whispered. I never told you. I never told anyone. Riley tightened her grip on the crowbar. You think we told them? I don't know. I snapped, panic choking me. But something's wrong. We followed the rules. We stayed quiet. We didn't answer them. So how did they find us? Liam wiped sweat from his forehead, his hands shaking. Maybe one of us. Maybe we've been marked the whole time. Maybe we didn't feel it. Maybe they don't always need to touch you. Mason's jaw twitched, but his voice stayed too calm. They can smell fear, remember? They follow it. Maybe you led them right to us. I stepped toward him. Why would they know my name? How would they know unless someone told them? Mason's stare didn't flinch. Maybe you already knew them. Silence. I looked around the room. I didn't know these people. I didn't even know where I was anymore. But something about Mason's face made my skin crawl. Like he was expecting this. Riley broke the silence. We need to leave. Now. We split up. They can't follow all of us. Liam didn't move. His voice dropped to a whisper, almost like he was saying it to himself. Or maybe splitting up is what they want. Riley scowled. What are you talking about? Liam's hands trembled. He pulled back his sleeve. There was a faint handprint burned into his skin, black veins stretching from it like roots. His voice cracked. They touched me days ago. I didn't tell anyone. I thought I was fine. I thought I was still me. He looked up at me, his eyes filling with something that wasn't entirely fear, something closer to guilt. They see through me. I hear them sometimes. They whisper names. Riley stepped back in horror. Liam smiled. A hollow, broken smile. Do you know what they told me? They told me you've always belonged to them. I stumbled back, my throat tightening. The whisper in the vents returned, colder now. Welcome back. I froze. Liam's words twisted in my skull like they'd been waiting there all along. You've always belonged to them. No, I croaked, shaking my head. That's not true. That's not. They told me, Liam whispered. They said you never escaped. You were already theirs when this all started. Riley backed toward the exit hatch, crowbar trembling in her hand. He's lying. He's infected. They're controlling him. But Mason didn't move. His eyes were locked on me, like he'd known something all along, like he was just waiting to see if it would finally show. They said your name before they said mine, Mason said quietly. Did you ever wonder why? Did you ever wonder how they picked you so fast? I stepped back, my heartbeat roaring in my ears. No, I was alone. I watched them. I ran from them. I'm not one of them. Liam's voice grew softer, almost sad. You've been hearing the alert, right? In your head, even when there's no sound. I swallowed hard. I wanted to lie. I wanted to say no, but I had heard it, even when I was alone. Even now. Emergency alert. Communications are down. You are on your own. Over and over. Inside me. It's not a warning, Liam whispered. It's a signal. It's how they called you back. No! Mason's voice cut through me. You don't remember, do you? His words landed like ice in my stomach. What don't I remember? He stepped closer. There were no staff at your group home. No kids. No one. You think they disappeared? You think they just left? No, they were never there when you got back. You were alone. You've been alone since it started. The vents whispered again. Come back to us. I slammed my hands over my ears. Stop. Stop, stop. But I couldn't block it out. The emergency alert was never a broadcast. It was inside me. The voice shifted again, no longer cold, no longer distant. It sounded like me. You are on your own. Because you've always been one of us. I staggered back toward the hatch. No, there are others. There's still humanity. There are still people. Mason just stared. And for the first time, I saw a flicker of sadness in his eyes. Maybe, he said, but maybe not for you. I bolted, clawed at the hatch, yanked it open, and climbed out into the open air like I could outrun the sound inside my skull. But I couldn't. It followed me. It always had. Emergency alert. Communications are down. You are on your own. You are on your own. You are one of us. I sprinted through the empty streets, past abandoned cars and shattered windows, past places I thought I knew. Every corner felt like a lie now. Every memory felt cracked. Had I really seen the staff at the group home? Had there really been other kids? Or were they just shadows in a story I built for myself? The city around me was silent except for the soft shuffle of distant footsteps. The infected just standing, just watching. They didn't chase me. They didn't have to. They knew I'd come back. I pressed my hands to my head, squeezing, trying to crush the whisper out. But the more I fought it, the clearer the voice became. You're one of us. You've always been ours. You don't have to run anymore. I crashed into an alley and collapsed to my knees. That's when Mason appeared. Calm, quiet, like he'd known where I'd go. You remembered, didn't you? He said, crouching across from me. You remembered what they really are. I'm not one of them, I gasped. Then why aren't they chasing you? Mason's voice was steady, but there was something sharp buried inside it. Why do they call your name like your family? Why do you hear the alert when no one else can? I bit down hard, forcing myself to focus. Why are you still here? You could have left. Because I've been tracking you since the first day. Mason's expression darkened. Because I needed to know if the infection could be stopped. His fist clenched. And maybe it can't. Maybe you're not sick. Maybe you're the signal itself. I shook my head, trembling. What are you going to do? He pulled out a small, jagged knife. Not like a weapon, like a last resort. You told me back at the shelter, he said quietly. If they ever got me, you'd stop me. You'd put me down before I turned. He stood. Now I need to know if you'd let me do the same for you. The infected appeared behind him in the street. A silent wall of them, watching, waiting. Mason's voice cut through the heavy air. Tell me, are you still human? Or was that just a story you told yourself? The world around me seemed to fall away. The empty streets, the waiting infected. Mason's blade, trembling slightly in his grip. Only his question remained, echoing inside me louder than the alert ever did. Are you still human? I wanted to scream yes. I wanted to shove the words into the air and make them real. But when I opened my mouth, nothing came out. Because I wasn't sure anymore. I could feel something under my skin. Something alive. Something old. Something that didn't belong to me, but somehow had always been there. Like a splinter buried so deep you forget it hurts until someone touches it. I could feel them. The infected. I could feel their hunger. Their silence. Their acceptance. Mason took a step forward, the blade steady now. You hear them right now, don't you? You know what they want. You know why they stopped chasing you. His voice cracked. They're waiting for you to choose. I staggered to my feet, every breath burning like ice. Choose what? His jaw tightened. To go with them, to lead them, or to fight them. I looked past him at the infected in the street. They stood still, quiet, patient. They weren't monsters. Not to me. They were familiar. The voice in my head whispered softly now, not as a command, but as an offer. You don't have to be alone anymore. I looked back at Mason, and in that moment, I realized what terrified him. It wasn't the infection. It wasn't the collapse of communications. It was me. I had never been a survivor. I had always been part of them. I could feel it now. I could feel their weight inside me. Like they'd been waiting for me to remember who I was. Waiting for me to wake up. Mason's grip tightened on the knife. I'll do it if you can't. I'll stop you. You said you would do the same for me. But I wasn't sure I wanted him to. I stepped toward him. His breath caught. The infected behind me took a single step forward in perfect silence. In perfect sync. Mason's voice trembled. What are you going to do? And the truth was, I didn't know yet. I didn't answer Mason. Not yet. Because the truth was still sinking in. I could feel the infected behind me. Not as strangers, not as enemies, but as something else. They didn't need to speak anymore. I could feel their message burning through me, stitched into every nerve. Come back. Take your place. Let us. Mason's knife shook. His breathing grew ragged. You don't have to fight this, I said quietly. I don't even know where the words came from, but they felt like mine. They'll accept you too. Shut up. His voice cracked, but I saw it, the doubt. That tiny flicker in his eyes. They don't kill everyone, I whispered. They take some of us. They show us things. You felt it, haven't you? The pull. Mason took a shaky step back. His hand trembled like it didn't belong to him anymore. His eyes darted past me to the silent horde. They whispered my name too, he admitted, barely audible. But I didn't answer. I didn't. You don't have to resist. My voice was calm now. Too calm. That's why the others disappeared. They didn't die. They went willingly. The emergency alert pulsed in my skull, softer now. Not a warning. A call home. Mason gritted his teeth, tears gathering in the corners of his eyes. Then why am I still holding this knife? He whispered. I stepped closer. The infected stepped with me, moving as one. Because part of you still wants to fight. I stopped in front of him. You can drop the knife. You can come with me. You won't be alone. The infected were waiting. Still. Silent. Expectant. Mason's hand shook violently. The blade wavered inches from my chest. His lips trembled as he spoke. Who were you before this? The answer slid into my mouth like it had always been waiting. I was their voice. Mason's breathing hitched. I was always calling you. His fingers twitched. And I realized something else. Maybe this wasn't about the infection. Maybe this wasn't about survival. Maybe it had always been about bringing him here. About offering him a choice. Because I was never truly alone. Neither was he. He looked me in the eyes, broken, furious, terrified, and whispered, I'm not coming with you. His hand shot forward. The blade plunged into my side. The infected didn't move. Neither did I. I staggered, blinking down at the handle sticking out of me. The pain was there, but it didn't matter. It wasn't enough to kill me. Mason stumbled backward, gasping. He realized it too. I smiled. Thank you for choosing. The infected began to move, finally. But not to attack him. not to stop him. They stepped aside, opening a path for him to run. Because we didn't want to stop him. We wanted him to carry the infection somewhere else. And as he fled into the distance, I whispered into the silent streets, "You're never on your own." The emergency alert pulsed again. Humanity is on their own. But you never were. I watched Mason disappear into the maze of ruined streets. I didn't chase him. We never needed to. He'd carry us with him. He'd spread the signal. He was already marked. And the most dangerous part? He didn't know it yet. The emergency alert whispered softly inside me now. Steady. Calm. Emergency alert. Communications are down. Humanity is on their own. Except it wasn't a warning. It was a message. We're coming. I turned to the others, the infected, my family, soldiers, shadows. They waited, silent, still. I understood now. The infection was never random. It was never chaotic. It was guided, organized. By me. I had been the signal all along. I remembered more now. The missing people, the ones who vanished without screams, without blood, they weren't dead. They'd simply answered the call. They'd gone somewhere I hadn't seen yet, somewhere deeper, somewhere below the city. And that's where I would go next. To them, to the source. I led the infected through the hollow streets, past the abandoned homes, the flickering traffic lights. We walked without fear. Somewhere out there, Mason was running toward other survivors, other shelters, other cities. And with every step, with every breath, the infection would pulse inside him, whisper to him, slowly, patiently, and when the time was right, he would bring the message to them. Because the truth is, the infected don't always chase you. Sometimes we let you go. Sometimes we let you carry us. Sometimes the most dangerous signal is the one that walks away.